Morning. Morning, Tracy. Morning, JP. Morning, Shadow Hunter. All right, guys. We'll get started here in a minute. So in the meantime, I will be displaying the risk disclosure. Okay. All right, guys. So just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the market trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information that's provided or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Okay. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading contains a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more their investment capital. Only risk capital that can be afforded, you can afford to lose without affecting one's financial security or lifestyle should be used when trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell options, futures, or Forex. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so now that we've gotten the risk disclosure out of the way, wanted to go ahead and move into the news. Okay, so we have today, this morning at 10 a.m., we have factory orders month over month. We have a couple of 3-year notes yield news coming in at 1 p.m. And then, which I'm not sure this is going to affect us, but the ECOFIN meetings that are happening throughout the day. But I think the item that's probably going to impact us the most, guys, is the election tomorrow. That probably is an event. I would say over the next couple of days that we want to sit on the sidelines for, and let the market kind of do its thing before we decide to participate in the market. I expect that the market will, depending on the results of the elections, will course correct or continue in a way that, in my humble opinion, is not tradable. Okay. So I would encourage folks to sit on the sidelines for that event, and wait for maybe the dust to settle here a little bit. Yeah, it probably is not a bad idea to do just that. Okay. If you wanted to sit aside for a week and kind of let the dust settle, that is not a bad course of action. Okay. Especially if you're trading the equities. Okay. If you're trading, some other instruments that maybe don't have as much impact, maybe crude oil, maybe copper or something like this, maybe that might be an opportunity to explore those. Okay. Yes, this is going to be. I would expect a lot of nonsense in the markets, no doubt. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the markets. Nice. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and open up our charting platform here. Okay. Make sure we're still reporting. Okay. All right. So we're looking at. We'll start off with, I would say, kind of a weekly chart here, since this is the start of the week. We close out the week. We'll start out with gold. That's kind of our normal instrument that we review. So we start out the week again in a similar fashion as we started most weeks in this market. Okay, We continue to make higher highs and higher lows in this market. Okay. Looking at the volume delta, that's positive. Looking at the ADX, that's also positive. Positive DI above, ADX above, all pointing to continued momentum to the upside in this market. Okay, looking at the weekly. Okay, looking at the daily. Just can move this up here a little bit. You can see you guys. Okay, looking at the daily, similar kind of view here, guys. We have a developing bullish engulfing candle currently in the gold market. We have an area of let's go ahead and just turn this off here for now. Let's see if I can do that in a reasonable fashion here. All right, let's turn this off for a second. All right. So again, we are continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. We did have a couple of days where we had some selling, but now it's come into an area where we would expect some buyers. Okay. Now I will say this, it seems that the move or the momentum to the upside has kind of I guess waned a bit. Okay. The sell-offs are a little bit stronger than they've been of late, right? We had a little bit of a sell-off that was met with some buying. We had a little bit more significant sell-off, and for now it appears it's also being met with some buying as well. Okay. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, again, we are in an area that appears to be supportive. Okay, it looks like it wants to develop a little bit of a W pattern here. Okay, you can see here, this is what looks like a little bit of a W pattern. Okay, I would say the area that would be important was what it would be if the current price that's developing right now in the 4-hour in the next hour, whether this continues in this kind of bullish engulfing way. If it does, then I don't see any reason why we don't go back up to 2765. And if we clear 2765, we're probably heading back to the highs of day. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so looking at the 30-minute chart, this is where we start to do some analysis, a deeper analysis on volume and things of that nature. Okay, so the first thing we're going to turn off this for now. We're going to go ahead and kind of review our average daily range, average daily ranges. Okay, so we're going to do that by adding adding the levels here. Okay, so I'm going to add my levels. All right, so here are my levels. I'm going to paste those in. Okay, so here we are, the levels that we're tracking. Okay, now we have ADR here up at 27.59. Okay, we have ADR low here coming in at 27.27. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up ASR, but we're going to open up ASR as a result of, let's see, London. That looks okay to me. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open that up. All right. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, there it is. We have our ASR ranges. Okay, so we have 2757.7, 2757.7, 7.7. That's our average session range high. Average session range low, 2732, 2732.3. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and open up our value areas. So we have a relatively, I was going to say relatively tight value area, but we are coming in at the bottom end of value right now. Okay. Price is technically below value, but looks like it wants to potentially come into value here. And if it does, then there's the potential of a value area acceptance, trade coming up or developing, I would say, in the gold market. Okay, so let's just take a peek here. Value area low is coming in at 27.53. Value area high coming in at 27.71. We have point of control coming in at 27.66.7, and then settlement next is 27.45.9. So all these levels are levels that we care about. The other thing I'm going to add here is our initial balance range. So there's our initial balance range, relatively a narrow range. Again, the thing that's kind of got my attention here a little bit is the fact that we are looking to potentially close back inside value. If we do that, there's a possibility that we could easily traverse through the entire range of value, okay, in this market. All right. That's probably my hypo number one. So the next 15 minutes or so, actually, we're probably going to get a 15. We've already got a 15-minute candle that is closed inside our value ranges. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, looks like we did have a 15-minute close inside value. Okay, so again, that could potentially lead to a full rotation of price through value. We do have some areas here above us that could be resistant. We have our 233-day EMA. We have our ADR high. So that could potentially, cause price to stall here a little bit. Okay. So, but nonetheless, there's something to consider here is our value area acceptance. We have a relatively narrow range here so that we don't have to, take all that much risk in comparison to maybe some other initial balance ranges. So, yeah. So again, me personally, I'm going to wait for this second 30-minute range to kind of establish here. And then maybe at that point, maybe decide on whether I want to potentially take a long. Okay. Like I said, the only thing that maybe is a bit of a concern here is that we have the EMA, 233-day EMA, ADR high, and ASR high that stand in the way of a full rotation. So these areas could potentially be resistant. Okay. All right. Think that is... Weekly has an inverted hammer. Let's see, weekly has an inverted hammer. Inverted. I guess you're talking about this bar right here. Yeah. I'd like to see less in the way of wick, but yeah, I see what you are seeing. Okay. All right. Yeah. So again, my view heading into this session right now is that there's a good chance that we get a full rotation of value here. I'm I guess a little bit skeptical about these areas right here because they're average daily ranges. They've also offered us opportunities to the downside. Okay. But I guess what's kind of, helping me with that view a little bit is that we have a 4-hour, we have a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle. We have an equally bullish engulfing candle here. I don't see much in the way of resistance that could be, in store. Although I do see that we have a relatively strong, bearish candle here that could be potentially resistant. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in the gold market. I'm not exactly sure what happened to my levels here. I lost my levels. Looks like I lost my levels. Let's see. Looks like I lost my levels. Hopefully you got those levels, guys. Did anybody? I could try recreating it. Oh, I can try bringing it back here. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, here they are. Okay, so here are the levels that we're tracking. All right, in this market. Okay, All right. So that's, I think, pretty much what I have to say for the gold market. Okay. The only thing that I might add here is my anchor VWAP. And my anchor VWAP, I'm going to probably set something up here below here. Okay. This is kind of where I'm looking at. This is kind of at the start of London. So we got an anchor VWAP. We got price above anchor VWAP. We got price above daily VWAP. We got price above settlement. So yeah, a good three items that we look at are all telling us that there's potential of higher pricing. Okay. The only thing that's can maybe counter to that view is the fact that we are our proximity to both EMA as well as our average daily ranges. Okay, those are the only things that could potentially put a wrench in this process. Okay. All right. So I don't see much in the way of questions, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. But before we do, I'm going to go ahead and take a little sip of water here. All right. Okay, so let's let's move on to the crude oil market. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at this a little bit more closely. We're going to go ahead, just like we did, we're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings. We're going to shut down some of these areas, and we're going to, look at this from a little bit of a macro view, okay, high level view here, and we'll start off with the weekly chart, okay, and ask ourselves the question, what is the market trying to accomplish, okay? Now, you can see of late, right, we continue to be in this kind of range that's sloping. So we appear to be inside a bearish channel here to the downside. Okay, this is what it's kind of looking like here. Okay, of late, looks like we've got a little bit of a gap open. Okay, gap open, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest to the upside in this market. We still don't have our positive DI above our negative DI. We have a fair amount of room back to get to back to the top of this channel here at 73.59. Okay. So I would say that of late is looking a bit more bullish in an otherwise larger bearish structure here. Okay. On the weekly. Moving on to the daily. Okay, daily. Again, we have our series of candles here. We don't see the gap the way we were seeing in the other chart there. On the weekly chart, we filled the gap here. We have a price has reached an area where we could expect maybe the potential of some sellers. We have this EMA level here. We have some areas right around here as well, 72.50. That could potentially be resistant, okay? Could potentially be resistant and follow along this process that we're seeing in this market, okay? Now, if we get above this 72.50 and then potentially above this 75.21, that would, I would say, start to break structure to the upside, even as close as 71.74, okay? Would like to see price above 71.74 or 71.75. That would break some structure here, and that could potentially lead to some pricing, higher prices. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the daily. A little bit mixed, I would say. Have, I guess, evidence on both sides. All right. Of the market, we have our positive DI above our negative DI, and then our ADX is starting to kind of begin to slope up, indicating that there might be a fair amount of momentum behind this move. All right. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, so 4-hour chart. So we're going to go ahead and let's see if we could we'll go ahead and remove the channel for now. Okay, so we are above some, I guess. Here's our gap again. Okay. I don't know why there was not evident in the daily chart, but in any case, we have a gap, looks like a gap open, right? Daily open here. from a close of 69.34, it jumped all the way up to 70.25. Okay. Now we made an attempt here on the 4-hour to get above this level. For now, has been initially, I guess, rejected. I guess to some degree. All right, to the upside. But if we manage to get above this 71, let's call it 71.45 or say 71.50, then there's a fair amount of fair opportunity. Again, looking at this from a Fibonacci perspective, if we look at this from here to here down to here, you can see that there's a fair amount of opportunity to the upside in this market. Okay, right? So we'll have to see how this current candle closes on the 4-hour. Okay, but it appears that there's a fair chance that we get up to maybe 74. Okay, or at least up to 72.26. Okay, before we can see any sort of maybe move in the other direction. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. We'll go ahead and add our levels. We'll go ahead and maybe remove some of these. I don't know if I can individually remove. I'm gonna probably remove the whole thing. Yes. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add our levels to this chart. Okay. So here are our levels. Okay. Here we are. There are levels. And so we see that price is above our VWAP. Okay. Above VWAP. Okay. Indicating that the move remains bullish. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add our anchor VWAP here. We're still not quite at the open of the market here. Let's see. Locate. Let's see right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my anchored VWAP here. Right about there. Okay. There's our anchor VWAP. We did get price to close up below it, but now we're potentially in the next 3 minutes, it looks like we might get a close above the anchor VWAP. I would say that if we do make it a price does get above 71.74 or 71.75, we could be in for another, leg up in this market. Okay. So we're about, 30 ticks away from that event. Okay. So let's take a closer look at these levels that I've added here to the chart. Let's go ahead and open up our ADR. So it looks like we are above ADR, kind of reacting off of ADR at the moment at ADR high at 71.40. Okay. 71.40. Well, looks like it's more like, 71.35. Okay. And then let's go ahead and open up our average session range. We have, let's make sure that says yes. Okay. So we have 71.56. Okay. 71.56 is the level that we're tracking on the high side, average session range high here. Okay. Let's see, 5-6. Okay. And then on the low end, we have 69.83 looks like. Yeah. 69.83 is our average session range low. Okay. 69.83. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, most we have value area high. Let's see, value area high. We're above that. We're above our point of control. We're above settlement. Okay. So everything is pointing to bullish price action or bullish price. Okay. So again, at this point, I would say that we should be looking for some opportunities to the bullish side. I understand that we are right up against the average session range high and above our average daily range high. Okay. Let's see, open this. Yeah. Average. We're both above average daily range and coming up on. So I would say that if we get a break, I guess conservatively, if we get above 71.74, I think there's a fair chance that we continue higher in this market. Where could it stop? Well, we're already at these ASR levels. We'd have to look to the left here. I don't see anything immediate here, and that could cause this market to stall. we'd have to go ahead and maybe go up to a 4-hour chart and then see what areas present themselves. We see 72.30. We also see there's maybe a more immediate level here that could cause price to stall. All right. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now in this market. It looks like we are at least on a lower time frame looking a bit bullish. Okay. The volume delta looks like is aligned with us. The ADX not so much. Okay. It's not so much aligned with a positive direction, although it looks like that is the positive DI. It looks like is making some attempt here to kind of turn the corner here. We have the open, okay, the initial the market open, okay. So the initial balance range is starting to develop here. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how this kind of plays out. We still have another hour before this range establishes, okay. So like I said, right now, I would have to say, given where we're at, we're above settlement, we're above anchor VWAP and daily VWAP, and if we can get above this average session range, then I really don't see anything that's necessarily stands in the way here. We still need to get above 71.72. That's probably the last kind of stand that I guess the bears will make here in the short term. Okay, we're starting to see the positive now, the positive DI kind of ticking up here a little bit. The ADX has yet to kind of really curl to the same direction. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the crude oil market, guys. I'm just kind of spot checking here to see if there's any questions on the chat, if anybody has any questions about the chat. So again, first order of business is for price to get above 71.72. If it's not able to get above 71.72 and it stays here for a period of time, yes, it does have the possibility of making its way down. Okay. If it does get above 71.72, we can use 71.72 as an area where we would like to potentially participate in the market. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the crude oil. We're going to go ahead and now take a look at the NASDAQ. Although I expect that the NASDAQ, unless they get some sort of news or confirmation on something, I'm expecting that we're probably going to be a little bit in range. But looking at this chart right now, it looks like it wants to head potentially lower. Okay. So we are up against some areas of supply here. Okay. This, let's say 20,000, I don't know, 20,925 seems to be like an area of supply here. This market does look a little bit heavy. Okay. It does look like it wants to maybe continue to the downside. Okay. In this market, right? So on the weekly side, it's been in sort of a consolidation range here. Now it's up against an area of supply, which could lead to maybe some price heading lower. Okay, looking at the daily chart. All right, so here we are, daily chart. We've had 1-2 consecutive days here of price action that was leading to lower prices. Okay, just going to go ahead and remove some of these levels for now and pick up on those after when we get down to the 30-minute chart. So while it's reacting off a supply level, we've come down to another area of supply, right? This is another area of price was hanging around for some time before it finally broke to the upside. Now we've come back to this level, and the expectation is that whoever brought price to these levels will probably still be around. If they've exhausted, if they're exhausted, then yes, then we would like to see, if we are somewhat bearish, to see that price can break below 19,957. And if that happens, I would say that 19,667 and maybe potentially all the way down to 18,700 or 750 is in the works. Okay. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Okay, here we are up against our EMAs. Okay, we're below our EMA. Okay, kind of again leading to that same view that maybe we are heading lower, okay, in this market, okay? We have a very nice swing to the downside in the 4-hour. If I do a little Fibonacci analysis on this, if we take this, the swing, measure it up to this swing, well, this is our initial target, right? We have this target of 19,800, okay, in this market, with the potential of heading all the way down to 19,500. These are a couple of targets based on the structure that we're developing. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. Okay. So 30-minute chart, here we are. So we have, again, a series of higher highs. Oh, sorry, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And looks like we're trying to establish yet another lower low. Okay. In this market, we are coming into an area where I would expect to see some buyers here, okay, around this 20,000 level, okay. So if we do break below this structure, I would say that we come back and revisit this area around 20,000, let's say 20,060, okay. We've broken some structure here to the downside. We're kind of challenging this current structure here. Looks like it has a little bit of weight to continue to this in this direction. This 20,090 level, I think, would be an interesting level to see if it does the same here like it did before, right? Came down to this level and kind of reacted away from it. Given that we have elections tomorrow, I would not expect a lot of movement, okay, with that news event in the horizon. I would expect that maybe we stay in this kind of rangy kind of price action until the election is over, okay, or election results are complete before we see any sort of major reaction, and then go from there, okay. So let's go ahead and let's add our levels here, guys. So we're going to go ahead and add the levels for NASDAQ here. So we're going to add these to the chart. So, yeah, that's it. We're going to add our levels to the chart here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to open up here is our ADR tool or ADR indicator, if I can locate it. Okay, there it is. There's our ADR. So at the top of the range, we have 2286. ADR high. On the low end of the range, we have 19,990. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and open up ASR here. Okay. And we are going to make sure that it says London for now. Okay. And then we'll obviously adjust that when the US market opens up here. Okay. So we have 20,000, 283.75. I have 283. Let's see, 283.75 is our average session range high here. Okay, 283.75. Okay, that's our average session range high, and then our average session range low is 20,053. 20,053. So 20,053.75. Okay, so these are our ranges. All right, now we're going to go ahead and open up our these levels here. So right now, price is on the low end of value. Okay, so we have 20,170 as our settlement price. We have 20,235 as our value area high. We have 20,137 as our value area low. 20,161 as our point of control. Okay, so you can see here that we are working to get below value. Okay, if we're working to get below value, then I would say that we have a reasonable, target down here at ASR low. Okay, ASR low here. Okay, if we do manage to get a close below this level. All right. Let's see. What else there was something else I was about to call. Oh, we have our daily VWAP is below as well. I'm going to go ahead and draw in our anchor VWAP. So our anchor VWAP here at this maybe start of London here. So we're below our anchor VWAP as well. Settlement price is we're there as well. We're below settlement. We're below anchor VWAP. We're below our daily VWAP, and now we're working on getting below our value here. So, yeah, I do see that maybe there's a possibility that we kind of continue to head lower in this market and maybe make our way down to ASR low before we see any sort of significant move back to the upside. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I should be calling out here in this market. The market looks a little bit bearish to me at the moment. It is coming into an area of support here. So, yeah, I really don't see any reason for it not to at least make it down to this level, these levels here, before we see any sort of significant reversal in the market. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the ES. All right. We're going to do the same analysis that we did with the NQ. And we're going to go ahead and turn off all these levels. We're going to go ahead and leave the supply and demand indicator that I have here. We're going to go ahead and start with the weekly. Okay, so weekly chart. Okay, so here are some supply zones. Okay, trying to see if it's going to bring up a demand here. Yeah, so we have a supply here around 5,900. And then the demand down at 5,400. So 5,900, 5,400, okay, are areas of supply and demand, okay? Market, much like we were discussing, of late has been a bit bearish, okay? Of late, a bit bearish, okay? So we still are, I guess I would call this relatively, bullish structure here, okay? Still relatively bullish structure to the upside. Okay. I would say that the bottom of this channel, okay, carries a little bit of relative importance here around let's say 26.21. Okay. If price is going to maintain this bullish structure, then we need price to remain above this line here. Okay. All right. This trend line, this channel that I've drawn. Okay. Moving on to the daily. Looking at the daily chart again, there's that same level that we were just discussing. Okay, we have price kind of hanging out at this area of demand. I guess momentarily demand that just kind of changed on me. Let's see if I can get it back. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's our area of demand here. Price is currently at. Okay, so this could potentially lead to some higher prices. We do see that we've kind of created a little bit of a staircase down, and now we are in an area where we could potentially, see price reverse away from maybe back up to say 58.43 or 58.44. Okay, before we see any sort of significant resumption of price heading lower. Okay, that doesn't rule out the possibility of price breaking this level and continuing lower. Okay, I'm not necessarily ruling that out, but I need to see it before I can react to it. I'm not going to I'm not going to take a preemptive kind of a position with the expectation that it's going to make that break. No, I'm going to wait for that break to happen. Okay, I'm going to wait for that break to happen, and then I will be looking to see if price makes it back to that level before I participate. Okay, right? So I just don't have the cachet of funds to force anything that I want to see in the market. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the daily chart. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, I have a lot of lines here, so I'm gonna get rid of some of them. Okay. And then we'll probably get rid of the channel here too, because I think that's not really contributing to much of anything at the moment. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add our levels to this market. Okay. So here are our levels. Okay. These are the levels that I'm tracking in this market. So again, similar kind of feel that I'm getting on this market as I got on the NASDAQ. We have a relatively strong swing to the downside. It came into an area of demand, got a little bit of a push up. It's reacting away from this EMA level, EMA 233-day EMA. We have a developing bearish engulfing candle. So all signs point to price heading lower. Okay. Where can it go? Well, if you are a Fibonacci believer, then you would say that it's going to make 100% extension, which will take us back down to 56.15. Okay, eventually, right? It's just the measure of this swing. All right, taking this maybe not this, maybe this retracement here might be a better, right? Maybe not as high, maybe not as low as 5,600, maybe down to 56.45. Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing in based on Fibonacci. All right. Now let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. All right, 30-minute chart. Let's see if I can get that. All right, move this over here a little bit closer. All right. So here we are. This is fighting my charts to get the levels and my levels and chart all visible. Okay. All right. Okay. I think this is a little bit better. We'll go ahead and we'll remove our supply and demand areas. We're going to go ahead and open up ADR, which we've already reached and are reversing away from. We're about 50 minutes away from the market. And it looks like the market is looking to kind of break new ground to the downside. Okay. It's trying to get below settlement here. Okay. Let's see. Initial balance is not quite done yet. ADR, we are establishing. So 57.70 is our ADR high. ADR low is below us at 57.12. Okay, we're good there. We're going to go ahead and open up our ASR. We'll make sure that this reads London, not Asia. Okay. And see where that takes us. Well, we have 57.84.75 on the upper end. Okay. 57.84.75, and then we have 57.43.50, 57.43.50, 57.43.50 as our average session range low. All right, we'll go ahead and open up our value ranges. Okay, so price is working its way to value area low at 57.54.50. Okay. Value area high is right around where we have our ASR high at 57.85. We have point of control at 57.66.50, which price is currently below, or actually working its way to get below. And then we have settlement at 57. What's it? 57.59. Is it 57.59.25? So we're going to go ahead and modify that. 57.59.25. So yeah, so very similar to what we were saying about the NASDAQ guys. That market still feels like it wants to continue lower. I would say that a reasonable area where we could potentially see a reversal is this ASR low here. Okay, this seems like a reasonable area for price to come down to and reverse away from. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the ES. Okay, I think there's some more downside price action. Okay, now we are at value area low. Okay, value area low again until we break it. It could offer us again an area for reversal in price. So these are kind of a couple areas that I'll be looking at here in this market to see how price behaves around them. And if not, then yeah, maybe there is maybe a little bit of a continuation of this current move that we're seeing. Okay. We're going to go ahead and open up our anchored VWAP here at the top of the London session here, right around this area right here. Okay. So we see that the anchored VWAP, we have price below. Okay. We have price below our anchored VWAP. So again, that's again another indication that maybe we'll see some continued price action to the downside. Okay. All right, so we're about 10 minutes away from the open of the market. Just kind of taking a look here to see if there's any questions on the ES. I don't see them. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek of on the Dow. So we're going to go ahead and open up our charts here to look at the Dow. Close this off here. Move this over here. And we'll take a look at the Dow. We'll see if we can remove some of these all right, so let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart. Okay, so what is the market trying to accomplish here? Well, I would say that of much like what we were seeing, let's actually move this to a continuous contract, because anytime I look at this on a higher time frame, I'd like to see the detail here. So I guess again, guys. So again, technically, we remain in this bullish channel to the upside. Okay, this is still technically bullish. Okay, we have a bullish channel to the upside, although we are making our way maybe to the bottom end of this channel, much like we were discussing with the ES. Okay, we are making our way down to this level here. I would say that if we are going to continue to remain bullish, I would say that level needs to hold. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the daily chart. Daily chart. Okay. Telling a similar kind of thing. We have a little bit of a doji candle kind of currently being developed in this market. A little bit of indecision as to what direction to take it. Price open inside this bullish candle. Okay. Didn't open below it, open inside. So indicating that might be a fair amount of interest in this potentially to the upside. Okay. However, we are still in a bearish swing. Okay, we've broken some structure to the downside. Okay, we've made an attempt to get back above, and that was rejected. Okay, so for me, I would like to see maybe a new low established, especially on this chart, before I'm willing to entertain a short. Okay, at these levels. Now, if price were to come back to maybe some other level here, maybe back up to this 42,271, okay, then maybe our 290, 291, or even up to 300, okay, that would be maybe an area that I would be interested in potentially, as a continuation. Now, what I am seeing on the daily is that price, the move that it initially, the impulsive move that it made is slowing, right? We're not heading lower in the same vigor that we had earlier. Okay, so that could be an indication that maybe price will eventually reverse back up. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, we have a developing bearish engulfing. Again, continuing to speak volumes for the bears. Okay, ADR is a little bit confused as to what direction to take this market. Okay, volume delta is telling us that there are more sellers than buyers in the market right now. We are getting more sellers than buyers in the market, and that is translated to price. The ADX indicator is not quite, I guess, embracing that just yet. So there's a little bit of lack of confluence between these three, between price, volume delta, and ADX. Price trumps all. Okay, so whatever price is doing is kind of what we're focused in on. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, so 30-minute chart again, we are developing a somewhat bearish candle here. It's looking to maybe potentially break some structure here to the downside. Price is below our daily VWAP, below our settlement price. Okay, so a couple of indicators here. We're going to go ahead and open up our anchor VWAP here. We can see that anchor VWAP is also giving us an indication that there's further price action to the downside. Okay, We're going to go ahead and remove this channel here for a moment. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and open up some of our other indicators here. So first one I'm going to open up is ADR. We're kind of in the middle. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and open up ASR, if I can locate it here on the left. There it is, ASR. Okay, I'm assuming that's still set to London. Perfect. Okay. So again, we're kind of in the middle of these ranges, right? We can, right now I would say that we're probably looking to go lower. Okay. This average session range low would be a logical area for price to reverse. Okay. From, okay. My expectation is that we'll continue to that direction before we see any sort of significant move to the upside. Now, I don't actively track levels here, guys, so we'll have to manually create these on the fly. So we have an average daily range high here at let's see, 42,361, 42,361. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up ASR here, not ASR, value. All right, we have value area high coming in at 42,000. Value area high is 42,374. 42,374 is value area high. Okay, and then we have let's see, point of control here at 42,206, and then value area low is, this is point of control, POC, and then value area low is 42,176, and then we have our ADR low. ADR low at, what is that level? 41,942. 41,942. And then our ASR ranges, we have 42,000. ASR high is 42,331. And then our ASR low is at 41,987. Okay. So these are the levels beyond initial balance range that I'll be tracking in this market. ASR low is 41,987. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think those are the levels we're tracking. Again, guys, it appears, just like it appears for all the equity markets, it appears that we are looking to head lower in this market. You see that the ADX indicator has now given me a definitive spike. DI, negative DI, is giving me a significant spike to the upside. We're starting to see the ADX indicator also tell us that this move has carried a little bit of weight. It's not quite above my level of 20. Okay. So there's still some room here to, I guess, confirm that. We're seeing our volume delta also agreeing that there is a fair amount of interest to the downside in this market. Now, I will admit that we are coming into some areas where we could see, some areas of demand. Okay, we still technically have not broken 41,112, and we have this level below us at 42,055. That could also be supportive. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. We have a couple of minutes. We're a couple of minutes away from the open of the markets. Again, guys, I don't know exactly what to expect, with the elections coming in tomorrow, but my initial view on this is maybe the market makers are going to position themselves, for opportunities. And so we could get maybe a swing or two in the markets in preparation for that, in preparation for our elections tomorrow. But there's a good chance that we could remain in range, right? We could be experiencing some range price action, right? No one wants to take a stab in any one direction unless they've maybe given some insight as to what the results of tomorrow's events are going to be. Okay. All right, guys. So I think that's it for me. I would just again encourage you guys to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make a comment or two in places where you see this video, is also all very welcomed and appreciated from everyone. Okay. And then with that, we'll close it off by encouraging you guys to trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys, have an excellent day of trading. I'm going to pop into the Coach Ray's room here in a few minutes, and then we'll have our group coaching again later this afternoon. Okay, until then, happy trading.